Hi, my name's Dave. I'm your host. You're listening to the last podcast where the first shall be last and the last shall be first. If this is your first time listening, welcome. I'm happy you found us. And if you're returning, welcome back. I really appreciate you listening, and I hope you continue to find tips, ideas, and value from listening to this podcast. Today, I want to talk about life list. You know, it's the same thing as some people would call a bucket list or what have you. But I think a life list is like, this is the list that I want to work on, and this is the list of things that I want to do now, all the way up until maybe, I kick the bucket. Hence the bucket list. Okay, so I have written out some things that I wanted to do last year. And one of the things that I'm doing in that list is I wanted to start a podcast. And I'm here, and my podcast is about a year old now. So I know that I've achieved that. And of course, in this podcast, things are going to change for me because I'm learning. I'm still growing. But I have a list of ideas, a list of activities and things that I would like to accomplish in my life and within the next 10 years. I don't know about you. What does your life list look like? I mean, is it something that you want to do within the next 6 months? Is it something you want to do in the next year? And I do know something. When we are close to death, or we experience a close to death encounter, we tend to rethink, revamp, reconsider, and change our perspective on life, right? So then we start, if we have a bucket list, if we have a life list, we tend to probably rearrange it or live it out much quicker. And I think as of this year, I started thinking, you know what, let me look at my list and let me see how many things I can do before the year is out. I want you to look at your list, whatever list you have, and maybe you might have to revise it. Maybe you would have to alter it to a way, or, change your outlook and say, how many things on my list could I achieve within the next 7 months by the end of the year, or 12 months within a year? For me, I want to see how many things that I can achieve within the next, or even by December 31st. So those things that I want to look at, and I have a lot of things on my list. So I started thinking about, there might be a lot of people already who have a ton of things on their mind, a lot of things that they would like to accomplish within their lives. So I came across a website. It was called 43 Things. And I also came across another website. I don't remember the name of that website, but I will put the link inside the show notes. So one of the things that I looked at was how many people decided to write about or have on their list they want to fall in love. And I'm going to tell you the number of people who actually wrote this down. It came in out of 100 things in life for people to do. This came in number 4, falling in love. 26,707 people said they would like to fall in love. That's a lot of people. Yes, it is. I mean, of course, there's millions of people, but 26,707 people want to fall in love. Now, a lot of people wrote, what was number 3? You're probably wondering. Stop procrastinating. 29,258 people said they would like to stop procrastinating. That's deep, because I'm actually one of the people that was on number 2's list. Write a book. So I've written a book. So I've added that to my bucket list. Now, lose weight. I was one of the people. I'm still one of the people for lose weight. So out of losing weight was number one, and you have 39,838 people who want to lose weight, who at least said, hey, look, I'm going to put this in the atmosphere. I want to lose weight. And you had 29,271 people said, I want to write a book. This is a list of people who decided to say, let me put this out there in the ether, let me write it. Or, I'm quite sure there's a whole lot more than what's listed. But it got me to think about one thing. When we write down something, and a lot of people have digital lists, but I realized something. For many years, I wrote in my digital notebook, and it was sort of like a diary I would have. And I've written a lot of things in there that I wanted to do. Now, believe it or not, I have a diary that stems back almost 30 years. It's all digital. It's basically something that I wrote down, and how my day was, and what I would like to do, what I would like to achieve in life, and so on and so forth. But I looked at that list, and I'm going to tell you something. This is crazy. I looked at that list, and there's a couple of things on that list that I've achieved. There's a couple of things that I've done. But I looked at a list that I've written down on a piece of paper. And when you look at both of those lists, the digital list and the list that I've written down on a piece of paper, believe it or not, I don't know about you, but I found it had a profound effect when I wrote it down on a piece of paper. I wrote my desires, my list, things that I would like to accomplish, my aspirations, my dreams, my hopes. When I've written them down on a piece of paper, it seemed to hold more substance for me. I mean, I don't know what you do, but for me, it held a whole lot more meaning. And especially when you get up every day and you get a chance to look over what you've written down, what you've taken the time out to open a book, get a pen, and, put your thoughts on a piece of paper. And you look at this book, and you look at your dreams, and you look at everything that you said, this is, without a shadow of a doubt, is something that I would like to achieve. Wow. It's like night and day. I achieve more of the things that I've written down on a piece of paper than I have in my digital diary. I mean, I still write in my digital diary, don't get me wrong. I mean, I love to, but I also write down in my book. I write my thoughts, and there's certain times I can't even, I might have a quick thought or something about a poem or whatever the case may be, right? And I'm not anywhere near a pen or a paper. So what I do is I have a recorder on my phone, and I'll record that thought. And when I get home, I'll write it down. I don't know how many of you use your voice memos, but I use it a lot. I use it almost every day, especially when I have a million thoughts racing through my mind. And I'm quite sure you do too. And we have an opportunity to record those quick thoughts that we have that might have a big impact in our lives. So back to the list. What is it on your list that you would like to achieve? That's what I would like to know. Figure it out. If you don't have a bucket list, if you don't have a life list, what I suggest you do is start writing it down. Because what are one of the things that you can gain from writing down your list? It's very simple. You can gain clarity that you wouldn't have if you wouldn't have written it down. It gives you sort of like a roadmap, like your goals. I mean, you have a goal. Oh, I would like to travel the world. I would like to visit this country. I would like to write a book, or whatever the case. Or I would like to get out of debt. Or I would like to buy my first home. Whatever that might be. Or I want to learn how to save more money, right? Or this is a big one. I want to live life to the fullest instead of existing. Instead of working just to pay bills, right? That's huge. So many people are living paycheck to paycheck every single day, every week, and they're just existing. Now, some people are very happy and content. That's beautiful. But there are some who are not content, but they're just existing. They gave up. I don't want that for you. I want you to find it in yourself to take a few minutes out of the day and think for a moment. Just imagine. I don't care how large, how big, or how outrageous you think your dream is, write it down. But I want you to take another step. If your dream is that outrageous, that big, that astronomical, I want you to say to yourself, why do I want this? Why do I want to achieve that? And after you've written that down, then figure it out how to get there. Because I think once it's written down, once it's sealed that this is what you really want, then your subconscious mind starts to get in gear and starts to develop ways, and you'll see ideas on how to move to the next step. So I don't know what it is that you would like, but if you don't have a list that of ideas or things that you would like to accomplish in your life, you need to make that list today. Some people just want to make a difference, and I'm one of those people. I would like to just make a difference in the lives of others. I would like to inspire other people to do well in life. I would like to motivate, uplift, and help people change their lives for the better. That is one of my goals. That is on my list, to try to be more positive, where people can listen and they can say, you know what? I keep hearing about this. You know what? I've never really taken the time to write down my dreams and my aspirations. And I talked about it on previous episodes on the podcast. That's how important it is. Your bucket list, your life list. I'm going to tell you right now, when you think about a life list, you think about, this is what I want to achieve out of my life. And here's something else to think about. When you pass away, what do you want others to remember you by or as? Or what type of person you would like to be, or what type of legacy you would like to leave behind? And if you start thinking about the legacy that you would like to leave behind, then you might start looking at things that will make those things happen. If I want to be a philanthropist, or whatever the case may be, or I wanted to be a person who get in shape and help others get in shape. So now you'll start thinking about ways on how to learn about health and things of that nature. So do you see the correlation there? You'll be able to say, these are the things that I would like to achieve out of my life, but this is the end result. So think of that end result and start working your way backwards and say, you know what? I want to achieve this. So what are the things do I need to do to get started? That's it. Just start. Make your list. Your list is so important, it's critical, as it gives you the direction, and you're making your list. I want to travel. Okay, so travel, depending on where you want to travel, start right now, places you would like to travel to. If you don't know where you want to travel, start picking places. Start looking at destinations. Start writing different destinations down. And then, you know what? Do your homework. Start looking at how much it would cost for a plane ticket, a round trip plane ticket. These are things that we can do now. These are things that we can put into play right now. You can start right now, right where you at. I don't have any money. Good. That's the great starting point. Now all you have to do is figure out, what would you like to do to earn money? Oh, I don't have enough education to do that. That's great. You're in the right spot. This is the absolute right time to figure out what you would like to learn to get where you want to go. So it doesn't matter where you at in life right now. It's the right time. It's the right place. It's the right starting point for you to start. Write your list today. Write your list now. Why wait? Don't be like one of the others that say, I would love to stop procrastinating. I get it. I procrastinate sometimes too. I know. I've been there. And you know what? It's okay. But we have to start some time. We have to start at one point. And you know what? Before I end this, I'm going to tell you a quick story. In the beginning of last year, or the year before last, I would say in year 2022, near the end. It was in December, and I was just fooling around, and I was at my computer, and me and my grandson was talking. I said, one day I want to start a podcast. I really wanted to start a podcast a long time ago, but for some reason, it's really, really bothering me. I mean, it's pushing, whatever it is, it's this pull I have that I want to get my own show. I want to be able to have my own podcast. And you know what he told me? He's a young kid. He said, well, I think you should do it because you are a heavy reader. You read a lot. You read a lot of books. You'll have a ton of things to talk about. And I didn't see it that way because all I thought about was, what do I have to say to anybody? Why would anybody even think about listening to me? And from the small amount of people that actually listen to my podcast, sometimes I wonder, was it all worth it? But I'm going to tell you something. In hindsight, yes, it was worth it. You want to know why? Because when I started this podcast last year, it was so therapeutic, and it was just one of the things that was on my list that I want to start. One of the things that was on my list that I wanted to do for so long, but was too afraid to do it. I was so afraid to get in front of the microphone and talk about anything. More or less talk about something that somebody would want to listen to, or have a topic that somebody might be interested in. It was fear that stopped me. But you know what? One of the other things that was on my list was doing all the things that I feared. And here I am, a year later, and I'm still talking in front of this microphone. So I'm telling you right now, make your list and make your happy happen. Because when you are making your list and you're knocking the notches off that list and achieving the things that you want to do on your list, you're going to be a whole lot happier. You're going to find joy. You're going to have a fulfillment that you've never had before. Why? Because you are following your dreams. You are doing something that gives you fulfillment in your life. It's worth it. You're worth it. So go on, make a list, and let me tell you something. Don't make a short list. Make a long list. Make that list as long as possible. And you may not be able to put everything down in one setting, but just don't worry about it. And don't worry about how you're going to achieve it. Just put it down. The how will come later. Just put it down. Go ahead and make your list today. Hey, listen. I've taken up enough of your time. My name is Dave. You're listening to the last podcast where the first shall be last and the last shall be first. I promise you, the content that I'll have in the upcoming months is going to be awesome. It's going to be explosive. So definitely subscribe, like the podcast, and don't forget on Poetry Fridays, I will have a brand new poem every Friday for you. I thank you so much for listening because it gives me joy knowing that I do have a couple of people that listen. And I hope that they gain something out of this. And I can't believe this, but I'm going to tell you, it's given me so much joy to create the content for this podcast. And again, thanks a lot for listening. I hope you're well, and I hope your family is well. So take care until next time. So long.